Welcome back, all you beautiful people. We are into game 2 of this best of 5 between Beyond Gaming and Hanwha Live Esports. I am still Penguin. He is still Dagda, I hope, unless an imposter's gotten himself in. You're looking a bit sus as we come into as we come into this game now. Obviously, the Death talked about it. There were glimmers of hope for Beyond. Hanwha did feel like the much stronger team. I will say with a little caveat, not as probably dominating as I was expecting it to be.
Yeah, and I think that's what the desk was pointing out as well, right? Was that we actually saw these guys coming in and going, oh, well, yes, we will beat you in lane. The laning, by far and away, Hanwha's strong point. But when we got towards the map state, we were seeing like Doggo, who's trading up well around the map, and he actually got quite fed on this Aphelios. Fortunately, wasn't able to translate that into anything, but I still think there are opportunities here for Beyond if they're able to exploit how they play the map, and maybe that is the benefit of having both top laners here, is that, hey, look, they're used to playing on side lanes, they're used to trying to play with that pressure. Maybe they can try and out-rotate Hanwha, but it does rely on them getting a little bit more control of this early stage, and I feel like that's what's going to be lacking. So I'm curious to see what the plan is now going into game 2 in the draft is, hey, do we get some of these more early focus laners that can support themselves coming into this mid game?
And look, on Hanwha Life side, you did your job, you got it done. I am not going to try and, tell you in the world, Beyond should be coming out of this one on top. But it is, as I say, as Shock said on the desk, it is, I'm very much of the underdog story because I come from a little country, Ireland's small, and I like, the idea of that happening. So, but again, Hanwha Life did what they needed to do. They understood how they wanted to play the game, and like you said during the cast, they knew where those opportunities, and they had far more of them to be able to capitalize on just Beyond being, as we said during the cast, stretched too thin.
Yeah, and we talked about it, right? I mean, you saw Liang, who was on the Trinity, finding those moments to go up against Morgan, continuously finding plays against that. I honestly think, like we highlighted that Dragon fight as well, where we had the ultimate from the Aphelios, bit of a swing and a miss, but if that connected, you end up in a very different sort of mid-game. So I think there are lots of opportunities here still for Beyond. Like, the thing that we've been kind of harking on about a little bit over the course of playings is that Hanwha are not the perfect team. And when we're looking at it, them trying to move in towards the group stage, well, we want them to try and show up against Beyond Gaming, but we're still seeing some of those weaknesses.
Yeah, we really, really are. But we'll see now, as Beyond were the losing team in Game 1, they have opted into red side for Game 2. So prioritizing that little bit of a counter, getting themselves that little bit of extra information before they see, before they fully commit to what they want their composition to do.
Yeah, we're still seeing very similar stories here, though, right? You're getting the Lucian, the Shinjeo band away, prioritizing Husha and Doggo, and there again, the Lilia. The difference here, though, is Beyond Gaming, right? You get this Aurelia band coming through, so not wanting to give that across to Chovy. So I'm curious to see if they leave the League Sin open for Willer, or if they're going to try and ban that away. Because you're looking at, okay, we're either going to get the Lee Sin or the Misfortune here, which either way, you're pretty happy with on Beyond Gaming side.
And well, right now, looks like it's going to be the Lee Sin priority. Going over to the side of Hanwha this time around will be Willer. It could go to a solo lane, but we are expecting that to be in the jungle.
Yeah, I mean, more than likely going to be going towards Willer. Crazy strong at the moment, just a good early game jungler that can help out your lanes. I think the Misfortune here is going to be best coming through for Doggo, and then you can try to pick something obviously for your solo lane if you want to here, but I also think taking an early jungler isn't the worst idea.
Not the worst idea in the world, and they're thinking about it. Looks like they may just lock that one in. Yeah, so we are going to get the assassin in the jungle now, a little bit more priority to get around the map quicker.
Yeah, and this works out a little bit better on red side because you can pretty much help yourself to 2 solo lane picks, right? Because you can take, say, mid lane on your next rotation here, coming in for PK, and you can go, right, I'm going to ban away some of the counters that we see towards this. You're already guaranteed to have a strong bot lane because you've got the Misfortune there, and then you can hold your red side counter pick for top side or for the other solo lane that you haven't selected. So definitely giving that talent a little bit more breath of fresh air in that jungle, making sure that you're not getting suffocated by strong lanes that has a Lee Sin to play around as well.
Yeah, taking away the Leona as well. So this is the thing.
Surprising.
I was going to say, the big thing I think that we can take from the last game from Beyond was that they said, look, we need to be able to protect Doggo, and giving something that has such good backline access is definitely something they want to try and disengage from. But with Deft going back onto the Misfortune, we saw it, thank you to Atlas, by the way, on Twitter, before coming into that game, it was an 85% win rate for Deft. That is over his entire career, that is a huge amount of priority and just comfort you're getting with something that you clearly know how to play.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane. But I think the big thing as well is that you're going to be going, okay, maybe we go back towards the Aphelios. Maybe you go as Beyond, hey, look, this Aphelios was popping off and had the right moments. If we gave it the support tools it needed, maybe that's the way we try and play out this game. And It feels like if you're going to take the Leona, set up in Aphelios, look for two of these strong laners to play, well, to try and set up in team fights. Like we talked about Seth, we saw Oren Hubbard in the last thing. Things along these lines, even a Camille if you want to, that can just go, right, we're locking people in place, getting Aphelios into these team fights and allowing him to thrive.
Yeah, and I think the big thing as well, like you mentioned, is that having facilitating lanes that come into that. So even something like, hypothetically, something like a Twisted Fate, if you can, something that can just roam around the map and cause ruckuses and odd number skirmishes to just facilitate Doggo, because bless his little heart and soul, he's trying his best.
Okay, well, we're getting caught back up into Champ Select. So Amumu and this Misfortune set up for Deft and Vsta, and then the bottom side, I mean, especially with Willard, this feels like you're setting up for definitely a couple of dives and trying to play around that bot side of the map. But there is the Kennen coming through for Liang on the top side. So certainly looking to see, hey, look, can we get a bit more of this this ulti game happening on the top side of the map? Although we have got a swap in junglers. No Talon, but a Viego.
Yes, so it was actually a little bit of a graphical issue. It was not the Talon that was locked in, so we are just swapping over to the other Champ Select, which is giving us the correct champions being locked and loaded. So again, similar style. You're looking to try and get that early skirmishing, but you are very reliant on your level 6.
Yeah, the big problem that I'm seeing though for Beyond is we're getting 80 carries, by the way, right? Ezreal taken off the board. I actually expected the Aphelios to be taken away here, but I suppose when you've got the Amumu, the short range 80 carry, not exactly the best, but here's the other short range 80 carry. I'm not so certain about this one. Like, the big problem with the Vayne is that, okay, yes, you've got the tumble to try and dodge away from some of the Qs, but you are incredibly short range. So the fact you've got to deal with a bullet time that can try and zone you out of team fights, and Amumu just running at you, even if he flashes in on top of you, can set you up for a pretty uncomfortable time. So we'll have to see exactly how Doggo's going to set this up, but I want to go across towards Hanwha as we're getting more lockup coming through for this Vayne with the Jarvan. Can go top to Morgan, great matchup in towards the Kennen, and now you can look to go towards Chovy, working back towards the Azir to play at range.
Yep. Doggo has played Vayne twice in his career, has lost twice in his career, so a 0% win rate, and that was back in the 2019 Springs playoffs of the ECS, so not exactly something he's, you know, well known for, but it could be something that can work out. You have got the Jace maybe locked in here for side of Beyond.
Yeah, I think it'll go mid lane here. I actually like this, right? You're able to play out range against the Azir, which is one of the worst things, but never mind the range. All right.
All in,
so,
all the time.
I'm a little scared of Beyond's comp, because again, it's like, hell yeah, all in all the time. Let's fight, let's go for it. But the big issue is that you're seeing a very short range composition against things like an Amumu, an Azir, a Jarvan, hell, even the fact that you got the Lee Sin that can just kick you out of these engagements. So I think Hanwha have a lot of responses to what Beyond want to do, but if Beyond can close the gap, if they can get on towards some of these key carries and Doggo is left untouched, I think that's the best way they can play at these fights. It feels like, again, we're relying on Beyond to find multiple different flank angles into these fights and see if they can find success that way.
Yeah, it is the Kled top with the Kennen mid. I will give a good shout out to Emily when we were theory crafting how this was going to work for the side of Beyond. They said the Kennen mid could be a very viable option for the side. We're well used to it in the LPL, Icon, but yeah. Icon is fantastic at it. But this is an adaptation that a lot of other regions would not be ready for. So again, I think Beyond have a very simple game plan. Whether or not they can execute on it's a different story.
Yeah, the problem with the Kennen, and the reason we don't usually see a mid lane, is his wave clear kind of sucks. Because you've either got to toss yourself head in first to see if you can clear that wave, or a little like Shuriken pew pew from the back, which doesn't really do particularly much. So I feel like against an Azir, you've got Chovy, full control over this mid lane. I'm gonna have to see if he can act that presence elsewhere, or whether he just wants to use that opportunity to poke this Kennen under tower and get a big advantage mid.
Yeah, a lot of scaling onto Hanwha as we go in. They are 1-0 up above Beyond Gaming, and they're looking to take another fantastic step towards that group stage. Chovy on the Azir. It's a classic of the LCK. You can't really say it's not. And I'm going to be keeping an eye on Willer as well, because he's now on something that can be a little bit more active, a little bit more engaging, rather than the poke niddly we saw in the last game.
Yeah, and I think he's got plenty of lanes to play around, right? Just Chovy, you're on your own, bud. You're going to control that lane. You're going to do fine. Look towards Morgan. Look towards Vsta. And okay, no, we actually are going to get the swap. So I wasn't certain what way this was going to go.
Damn it.
So PK is going to be playing top. Liang going to be playing the Kled into the mid lane. Now, Morgan has rightfully gone for the Summonary. This is actually something, if we're just going to continue shoutouts to people, we've already done Atlas, Emily, now I want to do Ender, because Ender is an old school...
going around the world.
Exactly. Ender, an old school Kennen player, was talking about this when we were actually at the LPL finals and saying, look, when you've got this Summonary, you can do a ton of poke with coming through with your Q. You just outrange the Kennen with the Q on the Jarvan. You got that poke with the E as well, and you just out-damage him every time your passive comes up off of cooldown. So Morgan going to have a wonderful time in this top lane. We've even saw from Chachi with the Conqueror yesterday. So I think now you got 2 winning solo lanes again for Hanwha, and all the eggs in the bot lane basket for Beyond.
I know it's not going to happen, but I like to entertain myself sometimes in these early stages before action actually happens. It's a Doran's ring on the Jarvan, so a little part of me is just like, AP Jarvan top? Just, I don't know, it's never going to happen. That's such a terrible thing to do. It has not been a thing for a very long time. But I enjoy the theory crafting.
Yeah, it's one of the things with this poke Jarvan style for the lane is you just run out of mana so quickly. So
yes.
Doran's ring giving you a little bit extra there, and that's kind of the whole shenanigans that we're going to see from that. Unless I'm completely wrong and Zonya's is coming through, I'm just like, oh god. But either way.
Speaking of oh god, Doggo gets exhausted, gets flashed in on top of him. He's going to be using his heal, but Vsta, I don't think you can take this fight. The Ignite goes down. They're going to try and get this one back. Burst blood to Doggo, and now Kino going to try and get a little bit more off of that. He's forced to flash away. Oh, it's a disaster for Hanwha.
Look, Worlds is just not working out. Goes in is like, I got you. And it's like, wait, I'm a lot squishier than this Leona. Vsta ends up going down, and I mean, a nice quick kill coming through for Doggo in the early stages. We just said Beyond's eggs are in the bot lane basket. Well, there you go.
Not only do you get the kill, but you also get the flash off of Deft. No flash on Vsta now. You have the Hex flash for Kino, and it only really costs you, your Ignite and your heal. But let's have a look at this, because Vsta felt like he had it.
Yeah, I mean, you get a good trade onto Doggo, but I want to give shout out to Kino here, right? Because yes, you get this flash forward from Vsta, but watch Kino's sidestep here. Vsta trying to see if he can get onto Doggo. Kino just steps into the way of the second round of the bandage toss, and from that, it's run for the hills for Deft. You're out of luck.
That's a big shift now in this bot side. Beyond going to be giving themselves a little bit of respite. It is still only 1 kill, of course. We got to see how the rest of the lanes go, because Hanwha definitely feeling a lot more confident in the rest of their solo lanes, considering they're going to have a lot more priority. But speaking of which, Husha just trying to see maybe he can catch Chovy off guard, but it's an Azir. With the shifting sands, you're never really going to be caught out in that situation.
Yeah, and I think Husha just kind of using his time wisely there as well, right? Still waiting for the Scuttle Crab to come up, just making sure there's no sort of funny business coming in towards the mid lane. Still gets Scuttle for himself, and might actually look for a play top, as Morgan slightly overextended up here.
Just a little bit. It does have the flag and drag with the QE combination. We do have Willer now pushing in this bot side. You do not have heal for Doggo, but you do have flash. So Doggo trying to see if he can get this one going back in his favor. Double up will not hit onto him, but that's a massive wave, and Willer is just hiding around the corner. Kino, you're going to have to try and play defense. They're going to get the knockback, the flash away. Nicely done. Vsta takes the aggro. They're going to try and reset it again. They're still going on top of this. There's some good shields of Daybreak coming out. There is the TP coming in. Doggo will fall. That's going to go down to Deft. Willer will get himself out, and they burn the TP from mid.
Oh, it's so late from Liang, though. He could have come down at the beginning of that. Okay, cool. You lose a little bit of that CS mid, but you're Kled. At the end of the day, I want that CS. I want that survivability for Doggo in that bottom lane, but unfortunately now, you lose the mid lane for Liang. You will have Husha who's there to pick up the wave, but it was just too little too late for Beyond.
Too little too late. Just, again, you had so much time to pull the trigger, and they just felt like there was maybe a little bit of extra survivability in Doggo.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think you give up the play on bot side.
Oh, I think PK is going to die here. He's going to level up, though, so he gets a little bit of extra health, but these auto attacks, one more Q, even if he needed it. No, Morgan gets the solo kill up in the top lane.
Yeah, I mean, easy as you like. That's exactly the way the matchup goes, but now you're kind of losing it across the board, right? Beyond, Liang TP bot trying to save the play. He's now behind in mid lane. And then you're looking at the bot lane for Doggo as well. He just lost that big wave to the bot lane turret, so you're now wheeling back up for Hanwha and finding that 500 gold lead in the early stages.
500 goalie, and important enough as well. Deft got himself the kill. Deft was the one to pick that up, so that early blunder from the side of Hanwha is just completely mitigated now, and it's Beyond who find themselves back at an even state, if actually a little bit further behind. It's just not able to make it work, and Morgan now with that Cataclysm and the Iron Spike Whip, he's going to have so much kill pressure on the PK.
Yeah, this top lane's not going to go well. Like, from now on, you're just, especially with the Cataclysm there, right? The second you come in, you're able to get the EQ, you just chase down PK, the second he flashes, cool, Cataclysm, you're still locked up, you got nowhere to run to.
Now Willer just hovering towards this bot side. Again, we're seeing it time and time again. The way you take down this team is just focus Doggo. The rest of the lanes will do fine. The rest of the lanes will get their advantages on their own. And Doggo, again, he's trying his damn hardest, but there's only so much you can do when 3-4 people are on top of your face.
Yeah, especially with the wave in this position, right? I mean, Deft's going to keep you poked down. They got a decent freeze coming off here. And my biggest worry is you've got the TP burnt on towards Liang and PK, whereas you've still got it for Chovy, right? So set up this quick, well, not quick, this slow push, sorry, in towards the bottom lane turret, and either you have Willer come in here onto the bot side, potential TP for Chovy, you can outnumber Beyond Gaming in the bot lane and force Doggo to either give up the wave or give up his life.
Well, Husha and Kino going to be spotted out on this ward, so Chovy just going to back himself up straight away. Has got the Emperor's Divide available to him, so not really in much danger. As I say that though, speaking of danger, PK going to be forced to use the Slicing Maelstrom and his flash, and he has to lead the lane. That's going to be a massive wave crashing into this turret, and he's not going to be able to get any of it.
Yeah, but if you look at the cooldown game, right? I mean, Cataclysm, a little bit faster than the flash, just a smidge. So it means you're going to be dead as PK, but Husha
gonna try and see if he can get something going for. There is a flash onto Vsta. And I like this from the side of the Hanwha Life bot side. They recognize immediately, literally the ward died and they immediately backed up.
Yeah, and I want to see now what Beyond Gaming can do, because this seems to be the story of this game, right? Beyond Gaming, you're going to fall behind in the lane phase. Let's see if you can make these plays on the map to set yourself up, but might just hold on to this point as PK does move back up top side.
He's back up top side, but he has no flash, he has no ultimate, and he will not have a hope or a prayer if he gets caught out. Now he sees Willer and he's going to immediately try back up, but the ward jump is good. Flash into the Lee Sin kick, all you absolutely want. There's a nice shifting sand, but oh, follow him over the wall, but back over you go. Knock him all the way back. Flash for flash, flash again. Chovy now finally getting caught on top of him, but there's two members of Hanwha Life coming into this top side. He's separated them out though, and they're able to go in with the Heartbreaker. Husha picks up the kill, and that's the kind of response we want to see from Beyond.
How many walls are these people going to get over? Like, god damn it, we chased it all the way from mid into the top lane. But bot side,
Deft forced to use the cleanse. We see Vsta going in and exhausting as well. So 2 summoners for none. Great trade for Beyond.
Yeah, I mean, nice trade coming through, but I do want to go and look back at that top side play, because I was actually a bit nervous about how much Beyond were chasing, but now you're getting kills coming through, and I want to see Liang use this. The fact that he's now got a bit of breathing room in the mid lane, shove the wave and start to roam. You're on a Kled, you need to start working off the fact that you don't need a huge amount of resources to have an impact early, but we'll see it here, right? Chovy trying to get some poke damage under the terror, see if he can get that turret play for himself.
Great timing.
It was, but there you go, flash for flash. Liang comes over, and this is where it gets dicey, right? You've got Morgan and Willer here, but great heads up play from Liang. Knocks Chovy over the wall, Husha can follow, and they manage to pick up that kill.
I'm gonna say something controversial. Beyond Gaming, best blast cone team in the world. They have just 2 games in a row where they've just been perfectly placed around it and able to get things. Incredible. I will die on this hill.
I am ready for you to get like flooded with, excuse me, here's Twitch clip 1, here's clip 2.
Actually, it's just like, obviously I'm having a little bit of a fun time with it, but again, just really smart awareness coming out from Beyond, and it's keeping them in line. Yes, there are still 2,000 gold down, but they are slowly finding themselves in at least responses.
Yeah, but hang on.
Morgan not really taking a lot of damage here from the Slicing Maelstrom. We got stunned up one more time and stunned again, so he's still waiting on his E to come back up, and that's a shutdown. Husha now 2-0-0. This Viego starting to stack a little.
Yeah, at least they're getting these kills on towards the more late game oriented champions, right? You've got Husha, who's been set up for success here, has the Rift Herald as well, so we can just pop this down and set up this Viego to be another carry alongside the rest of the team. But you do have to worry about the solo lanes, right? 37 CS coming through for the Kled. PK still not looking so hot, and 2 deaths to his name as well. So you really now are looking at, hey, what is the carry potential of Viego and Vayne? Because they got a lot of work to do.
They have a hell of a lot of work to do. PK, though, getting stunned up, getting kicked down. He gets executed. The tower will fall, and that goes over to Husha. Willer is now 1-0-2. You got to be careful, though, Willer. You're not quite got your Jarvan with you at the moment, but with the possibility of the rest of Hanwha Life coming, you can see Husha saying, look, I don't want to give over a kill.
Yeah, but it still comes out as a pretty big win for Beyond Gaming, right? You end up getting the turret, all those plates going towards the Viego as well. Plus, you got a little bit of a kill on towards Morgan as well. So, I mean, nice play still from Beyond, and Husha and Doggo trying their damnedest here. I think the big issue, though, is when we get towards team fights again, like, getting Doggo into fights is going to be tough. If Husha just ends up running face first into Vsta and Chovy, he's going to be knocked back and not going to be able to find great successes. It feels like Beyond need to find ways to spread out these fights, make them into skirmishes more so than just straight up 5v5s.
That's a 60 CS lead in the mid lane between Liang and Chovy. So, and the 2 turret plates as well. So it is just getting very, very obnoxious. You can tell. Yes, here we go. There's the bullet time into the Curse of the Sap Mummy. They're going to try and catch out Doggo. He does not quite get caught though because Kino gets himself in front of the bandage touch. Now they can maybe turn this one around. They're going to TP down on top of this, but it's been answered immediately. And Liang, you have no health bar, you have no economy, and you're going to fall. 2 kills going over to Willer.
I mean, he's only got the phage, he had half a health bar, and that's not going to look pretty again. Chovy just managing to get a bit of damage onto him before he left lane, and now Hanwha control bot side. They control the dragon, and this lease in for Willer looking pretty scary.
Really, really is. And all these minions, all these turret plates going over the side of Hanwha Life. They're even denying a hell of a lot of gold. Husha thinking about it. Maybe if someone was a little bit greedy and going for the dragon by themselves, but Hanwha Life ain't going to let no steal happen. They're getting themselves in positions to reset and get themselves back on the map.
Yeah, and again, you've got already 2 turret plates gone in the mid and in the bot side for Hanwha Life. They've got 1 gone on top side, so you still have a lot of that gold that they can try and play around as well. And I like that we're actually getting Willer again playing towards these lanes, right? He's come in with a game plan, which is very much we're going to dictate the pace of bot lane in this series, and been doing a great job of it all throughout the series thus far.
Now have a look at the replay here, and again, Doggo just takes 1 step too far forward, and Vsta immediately goes in with the bullet time and the Curse of the Sap.
Yeah, and this is the flash that you need to be worried about, right? Because Doggo, you are incredibly short range, so always at the whim of that play, and when you've got Willer is able to follow up with Deft, it's so easy, and Liang way too late towards his play as well. Chovy even following along with him for the ride. It just wasn't going to end well.
And that's the 2nd time now we've seen the Liang just with these very, very late TPs. Setup wave does not land. He's going to flash in. They're going to get the flash and the cleanse out of Deft. He slowed down just a little bit. There's the Kennen against the wall for Vsta. The TP is going to be committed. That's going to be the Jarvan and the Kennen coming on top of this. Vsta adding a little bit more time to this play. Cataclysm goes down. There's no flash for Doggo, so they're going to try and fully invest into that. Slicey melts him on the 3 though, and they're turning this one a little bit around. Hanwha Life cannot play with these helpers, but here comes Chovy smacking Liang all the way back to the bank and getting himself a little bit more kills. Hanwha Life not quite done with this one yet. Now PK and Doggo left between a Chovy and a hard place. Chovy on this Azir has so much distance between him and the carries. He's going to be able to force them back off the turret. He doesn't want to overcommit. Never mind, he does. Shifting stance. They get the stun down, but he gets the kill, and that is all that matters. There is the Make It Rain coming down with the bullet time. Hanwha Life Esports smash Beyond in that bot lane dive.
And they're able to chase them down so easily. Slows galore coming through from Deft, the range advantage for Chovy, and unfortunately PK and Doggo just have nothing left in the tank. So what started off as a great play for Beyond ends up with us at 11-5 for Hanwha, still that 2,000 gold lead, and again resets coming out faster so they can interact on the map.
You cannot cleanse a Cataclysm. You need your flash or you just don't get out of it. That is just how it is. And now Chovy, 2-1-2, has himself 126 CS. He is more than double that of his lane opponent in Liang, and he's well on his way to being that late game carry.
Yeah, it's just disgusting at this stage. And even if you look at the bot side for Deft, right? Kraken Slayer picked up. He's going to have that Essence Ray from the way as well. He's gone for more of that crit-orientated build. So these auto attacks are going to hurt, especially if you get that double up. But we're going to see it here, right? It's a nice attempt here, but Deft does a really good job of avoiding a huge amount of that damage. Willer is there to support him as well. And because you have Hanwha who are able to delay this fight for so long with League of Stopwatch, it means you've got the rest of the team who are able to come down, and Liang just cannot duel Chovy, which says a lot about how this mid lane has gone.
It really, really has. And in the Axe replay, you just see Chovy just kind of slowly closing in and saying, I'm here, guys. Like, it's no longer a 5v4, which is why Beyond found themselves in an advantage. It's now a 3v2, and Beyond just haven't got anything to go on it, and they end up being almost completely aces just because the death timers are so short.
And at least you can see, though, if this Vayne is able to get in on top of people in later game fights, she will be a monster, but I think it is going to be difficult to see her get to that point where she can actually close the gap. This was Hanwha in those kind of skirmish orientations. Chovy forced Emperor's Divide away.
Yeah, you get the Emperor's Divide out, 1.5 minutes until the dragon spawns, so might not be up and available. I think with the way that cooldown is going down, though, should be able to just have it before this dragon spawns. And yeah, like you said, it's just so difficult right now. Deft is huge, Chovy is huge, Willer is massive. Like, everyone everyone's gotten the kills, and it's all evenly spread out.
And look how terrified Beyond are. They're committing everything to this bot lane because they want to try and support Doggo, but you got Hanwha who are here. Meanwhile, Morgan's pushing top, could even just fall back over towards the Rift Tower to pick that up for himself.
Should be able to get this turret down very low. There's the curse of the sand bullet time all the way to the bank. They're going to commit there with a charge, but Doggo was tanking up the tower, so he had to back away, and it's just all falling apart. Hanwha Life are going to have their pick of the litter. Willer will take down the Kled, and that is just going to be so easy for the side of Hanwha Life. They don't need to go overforce things. They don't need to kind of panic. They know they are just stronger.
And they're winning both solo lanes, right? Morgan not involved in that. Chovy not involved in that. That was a 3v4 the Hanwha just won, and it's 16 minutes. Oh, Penguin, it's going wrong.
They're going for it, but he's in a two-fed member, so Husha trying to see if he can do something here, but you're stunned up because of the bandage toss, and Doggo is going to be chased down. He's flashing away, and while that's happening, Chovy playing PvE saying, I'll take the mid lane turret, no bother.
Chovy's is just pushing mid. Doggo's gone with his tail between his legs. Morgan's still pushing top. I mean, this game, it was at least kind of looking a little bit in Hanwha's favor, but beyond keeping it somewhat touching distance, this game now that was blowing completely open. 6,000 gold lead, complete control of the map, Dragons in Hanwha's favor, and I mean, you've still got 3 minutes before the Rift Tower even spawns, and you're going to be knocking on tier 2s.
Kled doesn't have an item. Kled is looking at the bargain bucket, just kind of saying, oh, cool, I'll take a Phage. I'll be back next week when I can afford the pickaxe. And he's just kind of looking at the glass window of the, the gore drinker and stuff, and like, if only one day I will have enough gold to be able to buy you. He's just not a champion right now. And even, like you said, not even just from a gold point of view, you're looking at level advantages across the board.
Yeah, I mean, Liang's kind of the guy who ends up eventually getting the PS2, rocking up with his new game set, and realizes everyone's coming along with the PS3.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like, oh, no, man, we don't play that game anymore.
No, it's over, it's gone, you know. But yeah, I mean, you're looking at it now where you got to kind of go, right, what is the game plan here? Because for Beyond, it feels like they're kind of done and dusted. The long range coming through from Chovy and Deft is very difficult to play with. We already said, hey, Vsta is going to be able to set up really well to shut down Doggo, the short range composition. And Morgan has also got that kind of protection there with the Cataclysm to dissuade PK from getting involved, lock up Liang. I just don't really see where their opportunities are to try and find great success.
Exactly what you said, but it's a mistake. You need a mistake from Hanwha. You need them to several mistakes, but we'll take those as they come. We'll take one for the moment and then move on from there. But for Hanwha, they have no reason to overextend. They have the range advantage. They have, at the moment, the gold advantage. They're going to try and see if they can take out Chovy as they're just kind of hovering around this fog of war. They will land the stun. They're going to fully commit onto him and take him down. Shut down, importantly, goes to Doggo. It's those kind of moments you need, but while this is happening, you're still losing the dragon.
Yeah, I mean, how unfortunate they're coming through for Chovy, but it's not the end of the world, right? You've got the push, not going to be able to take a turret. You're trading up when it comes towards the objectives, and a kill right now for Beyond is not a big deal.
I mean, Morgan might have overextended a little bit. You will have the charge coming in as well, so they're going to try and get him away from the side of the Kled as it goes a little bit too far forward, but now Morgan very much overextended. He has got Willer with him. They are going to maybe look for this kind of turnaround. PK gets caught out, gets kicked into the Kled, and the Cataclysm. It's a beautiful bait. Willer and Morgan, perfect synergy, absolutely capitalizing.
Hanwha playing on that HD, and you're still looking at Beyond Gaming. The 480p is just not working out for them here as Hanwha, they're taking over. Morgan's gone back towards top to push it in, and now the rest of Hanwha will group up mid. You've got that Rift Tower we were talking about knocking on towards the tier 2, as Chovy is calmly continuing his nice little PvE as he just farms himself up towards those late game items.
I mean, he's getting a depth cap next. See, that is literally his next item. He doesn't need any special effects. He doesn't need any difference of, you know, as I say, I'm going to stop myself straight away. We're going to see Kino go in, but nobody's there to kind of go in with you. You cannot just go in 1v4 and expect to live. They can just keep throwing out abilities. Hanwha Life are just decimating right now. There's the Curse of the Sap Mummy going in as Deft picks up a kill onto the Kennen. The Kennen now 1 and 6. There's the bullet time on the Husha to try and take him out. But Hanwha Life, this is 4v4, 4v5, and they're still absolutely crushing it.
They have just cracked open the first inhibitor of the game. You've got Morgan who's shoved it top. You're already Chovy if you just want to dip down to bot has now controlled that lane as well. Beyond, these drafts have just not given you a huge amount of tools to find success in these games, and you're seeing Hanwha are happy to go and punish it.
I mean, it's a Oh, TP coming in. Maybe they try and jump onto Chovy again. He does have Flash and Emperor's Divide. They're going to double TP onto this. They want to try and make something happen. This is it. This is your desperation play. TP going to be responded here by Morgan as he tries to jump in with his team. Chovy now finds himself with the Emperor's Divide. He flashes away and gets the shifting set. But they found Doggo. He's trying to keep himself alive. He's trying to kite. But 3 people are on your face, and there's nothing you can do. They now have 2 quick kills. Now it's all on the Husha. He needs to be the guy to change this fight around. He needs to be the guy to get these kills down, but you just cannot. Willer has stepped up. Willer gets himself a triple. Willer is looking for the quadra, and maybe Morgan! You ruined it. You ruined it all. They'll be able to finish off these kills and end the game, but Morgan, for shame.
I mean, he came from WE. The Star Guardians of the LPL with their power of friendship.
It would have been a penta.
It would have been the penta.
God damn. And they're not even going to end the game. They're going to go back and get themselves fed up.
I mean, look at Willer. He even saw the little, oh, come on, really?
I'd be so mad. But look, I love it from Beyond. I honestly, I know they obviously got like 100% ace there, but you had to go for something. You had to throw a Hail Mary, and the reason why it's a Hail Mary is that, like, if God answers or not, we don't know.
Yeah, but sometimes, you know, you got to make sure there's a receiver that far up the field. And it didn't really feel like that was the case here for Beyond, right? They TP in towards that bot side. You just completely leave Doggo again, the guy that is fed on your team, the guy that you were trying to play around, and Doggo's just left there. He's got 3 people that have cornered him. They've all got the nets, and the dog catchers just sweep in and take him away.
And again, we're now looking at the game states. 11,000 gold lead in favor of Hanwha Light Esports Beyond Gaming. They're still in it. The game is still happening, and they are still picking up gold. And it's just going to be a Baron to start this one off. They haven't swept the vision just yet. So this is confidence, or is it foolishness? Because there's a big difference. There's a thin line as Morgan now finds himself on the side of this one here. They're actually just taking the Baron down to 4,000 HP, 2,000, 1,000 gone, done, dusted. It's a done deal. Now we got the big purple worm buff on the side of everyone. Doggo's auto-attacking a ward right now, so he's not really putting down any DPS. Willer finds Husha in the battle of the junglers, but the rest of Hanwha Life is here. We're going to see the Heartbreaker over the wall to keep Husha safe. Flash forward doesn't hit onto anything. Morgan looking for the Cataclysm. It's not on the Doggo, but there is the AoE as they absolutely tear through Beyond. It's all down to Husha and Doggo, and I'm going to be real. He looks more like a Chihuahua than a Rottweiler. Yeah, he's kind of shaking when he barks here. Mostly from fear as Doggo. Yep, you should be in fear, but he flashes over, but they get the flash, they'll move backwards. Willer trying to go 1v2, and honestly, I think he could do it. He's feeling it, he's looking for it, he's going in, but he will fall. While that was all happening, the Nexus was being taken down. And that's Hanwha Live getting themselves to within 1 game of putting themselves into the group stage.
That one hurt to watch. That one was painful. I mean, honestly, the Kled didn't even finish his tier 2 boots. That was the same.
Just walking around with some brown bags on his feet.
Yeah, at least he had a nice little mantle just for the neck, but yeah, it wasn't quite working out. And again, I like the drafts. I can understand it's going to be tough for you're bringing in the top laners. They're not going to have the big champion pools coming in towards the mid lane, but it's just unfortunate that when you're looking at already what has been drafted coming through for Hanwha, that we're getting these like continuous short range comps into long range comps, and it's coming back to bite Beyond in so many of these fights.
And of course, Beyond, they're just throwing stuff at the wall. You cannot blame them right now. You have to try something, and it is what it is. Hanwha, we knew coming into this, there was no if, buts, or maybes. They were going to be the stronger team. Beyond needed to dig deep, pull something out of them, but I don't know. It's just going to have to be what it is. I guess there's only so much we can say about it. And while we ready up for the next game, we're getting the chance to see what it's like playing on the World's 2021 stage, brought to you by Oppo.
I think I was a bit nervous and excited before I go in stage, but after we go in game, it went away and we just like beat our opponent.
The stage was looking great. It was like I really got the world's atmosphere, and it felt great to crush both our opponents today.
This ain't where the legends come from. You know what a hero looks like. Other people on fire, fire. Maybe it's time they meet their dragon. 'Cause if I gotta break it all down, then let's break it all down. Now you with her and we'll burn it all.
everyone to the State Farm Analyst Desk, where HLE moves on to match point and are now just one win away from locking in the World's group stage. And it was, again, quite convincing, I think we have to say. I want to take a look at the draft because Emily said this is just HLE's bread and butter. For people who are not as... don't know that much about, I can't find the words, HLE, why is this the bread and butter Hanwha Life comp?
So, I mean, I think that it's just stuff that they're going to be really comfortable with. Chovy's Azir is something that we've highlighted as just an insanely strong pick. Picking the Vayne into this is, let's just say, incredibly risky, just because there's so much displacement in CC for against that Vayne. So it pretty much stops a lot of what she wants to do. And I just thought it was something that they could move around with ease. Like Willer, who we're going to talk about later, actually did a really good job, I thought, of communicating with his lanes, which is something he's previously struggled with on the Lee Sin, so that gave him a lot of agency. I just thought it was a draft that highlights the strengths in their solo laners, and now I know Goldberg's like really itching to talk about lane matchups, because we were talking about it a lot behind the scenes.
When I initially saw them, I thought to myself, you know what, it's not too bad. You can have the range of a Kennen mid into the Azir, and you can try and match it. You won't match him on wave clear, but at least you'll have a champion you can roam with out towards the side lanes. They'll have that good team fighting. You can have the Kled in towards the Jarvan. It'll be fine. But then they swapped it around, and it's just kind of like, wait, now you just pick Kennen into Jarvan, and you have Azir into Kled, where Kled just can't do anything. So you just, congratulations, you played yourself.
Maybe the same thing can be said for the bot lane, because, you know, we had a hopeful sign for Doggo. Did end up getting the first blood, but of course HLE immediately responded.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think the big thing here is we've been talking about the Amumu support and how people have misplayed the 2v2 with it. And I think this is kind of a clear-cut example that Beyond Gaming were able to capitalize on.
Me and Emily is kind of theory crafting this lane as well with the Amumu, because it's a little bit of a misconception with it, to the point where it's not a blind pickable champion. Like Leona can actually match you level 1. Just because you have those 2 bandits touch doesn't mean you can withstand the pressure you get of Aftershock Leona, the 4-second cooldown on the Q, and that's why they were able to get this kill in the first place.
But then they send 3 people there and the TP is late, so
the
they
curse
say...
of winning lane sucks.
Yes, the curse of winning lane. This is what you get. And then we also saw Hanwha Life very targeting the top lane, and Morgan having a dream of a time up there as Jarvan.
I think that is also one of the things when you finally pick the Kennen into this state. Like, on Beyond Gaming, they are putting a lot of attention down towards the bottom lane. So once this Kennen is put in a position where Morgan has been able to establish a push in towards himself, there's nothing you can do. And you can also see Willard able to punish this. First time around, they get his flash. Afterwards, super easy just to come in here and go for the alley-oop together with the Jarvan here, because there's really nothing you can do in this matchup. And that's also why I was a bit disappointed to see the Kennen go up there.
And I definitely want to highlight Willer again, right? Because this is a player that we've really criticized for going as far as to say that Chovy is the second jungler or possibly the first jungler for this team. And I thought he had a really great game. So we're going to see him come out of this team fight super, super well. But the most important thing for me from him was that it seemed like he was finally communicating with his lanes a lot better. And obviously, as Goldberg already touched upon, he had some really strong lane matchups to play around, but that's a great sign of life for Hanwha going forward against stronger opponents.
I don't know if the communication is there. Morgan just straight up robbed him off his pentakill there. I don't know if the communication is that key in this specific scenario. But Willer
then we have to shift it to Morgan. That's not Willer's fault.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Good point. I don't know, people will say, yeah, of course, but the caliber of people and teams they will be up against will be higher. Yeah, but you can only beat who's in front of you, right? So you can only take it as a positive that Willer had a fantastic game here and was looking good. Beyond Gaming has chosen red side for game 3, so no changes there. I think, yeah, trying to keep that trap card open is good, but yeah, it does look like there's not a lot of life left in them, despite them. They're trying to make the plays, right? But it just doesn't seem to land.
I definitely think the red side is the place for Beyond Gaming to go, because it allows you to try and take control of some of these solo laners if you have the counter pick available. You don't need to worry about Doggo too much. He's doing fine for himself, as we've already seen in the 2v2. It's really just to see how do we actually stabilize ourselves on the top side of the map.
Yeah, I think it's really key. What red side does give you as a strength in the draft is that you can try to focus on counter-picking those solo laners. And, you know, they kind of did, and then the lane assignments were not what we expected.
Yeah.
So like, you know, going into this game, obviously this is kind of a high risk, high reward comp, did not pay off. I really want to see them get as strong and stable laning matchups for their solo laners, because that is a part of the map that they need to stabilize.
We'll see clear-cut work out for Beyond Gaming if they want to stay in the series. And we'll be back at the analyst desk for picks and bans in just a few minutes as HLE are on match point.